Okay.
All right, guys, it's the Chill Scrub. Another day, another video. This time, I have a guest with me. It's going to be Miss Teelee. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Teelee, T-E-E-L-E-E. They rhyme together. Teammate nickname, Lee my middle name. It's been my gamer name / brand for the longest of years. And I am with 2 Tough Gaming. Awesome team. But I've been playing Tekken for years. Since I was a kid. Very, very long time.
All right. Before we started this video now, you said that you started with what, T6 Tag 2?
Yes, Tekken 6 Tag 2. That's when I really, especially Tekken 6, I really started to study Tekken. And Tag 2, I really started to better my fundamentals, understand it more.
Okay, so guys, I'm gonna start off with saying this video in particular is still going on the same topic about the controversial thing about Twitter and a lot of people being upset about women in the FGC or whatever. I had a conversation with Mike Hollow and I was like, well, I don't think this is good enough for me, so I'd rather hear from the source itself. A woman that's actively trying to get into the FGC, want to hear some of her thoughts, some of her trials, or what's going on. I can only speak from my experience. I'm a dude in tournaments. I don't know what it's like to be a woman in tournaments, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and start. What are the experiences that you have in the FGC that you have gripes about that you can agree with some of the people on Twitter with?
So can you give me an example, elaborate, such as like...
Okay, I got you.
I did.
I got you.
Watch your recent video, and you did talk about how you don't agree with women who do some certain type of work. I'm not gonna say. I'm trying to keep it G-rated.
It's cool. You can say sex work. It's fine.
Yeah. So when you don't agree with women and sex work in the FGC because it doesn't. It has nothing to do with FGC. It's just them promoting themselves, but in a way that not many people agree with.
Yeah, that's definitely my stance. Me and Mike Hollow was getting into it about that. He was saying as long as it doesn't, well, as long as they're not promoting it in the scene itself, rather it be online or offline. Don't want to misquote them, but that's what I'm getting from. As long as they don't promote it out loud, it shouldn't be an issue, and they shouldn't be barred from going to tournaments or events. And my counterpoint to that was, the problem comes into play is, let's say it's a woman like Tanakana that looks very attractive, that has material like that, and she ends up getting a sponsorship, and they go back and because they're going to do that, they're going to background check you, and they see these on your Twitter links, on your Twitch links, on your YouTube links, and they see this. That's what causes the issue. And if again, we was talking about business earlier, and I was saying in my mind, I'm like, this is not good business. We don't want to promote that.
Even
go ahead.
My sponsor, okay, even my sponsor, they said it too, because they said straight up, like, if you're a woman, no offense, like, we don't care how good you are. If we see any type of you doing dirtiness you shouldn't be doing, you're getting kicked.
I find that fair because not only is it a detriment to the community itself, it's actually a detriment to women in whole. I'm not a feminist by any means, but I'm just using common sense here. If women are trying to break into gaming, and we all know that it's going to be tough for y'all. A lot of dudes are accepting, but we still have people that are like, we don't want y'all here. Host that whole tweet that started this in the first place. Why would you go forth and do something that's going to make it even harder for everyone else and give them every reason to say that you shouldn't be here in the first place? Don't you think that's a bit counterproductive?
Yeah, that's something else. I mean, are you talking about the guy who posted the tweet? Like, why he would say something like that? No,
I'll get to that later. I'm talking about women doing that kind of content and trying to get into the FGC. I'm like, it's kind of counterproductive because, like, you're fighting so hard to get in, and then you throw this out here, and you're giving them every reason to say what they're saying in said tweet. Why we don't want you in here? Because remember, the bulk of his tweet was saying we don't want e-thoughts, we don't want OnlyFans chicks, and you'll be surprised about how many there are in the FGC or in gaming in general. And towards the end, he was saying get women out of gaming. And I was saying to some degree, I can somewhat get where he's coming from. But I would be more, if I was a woman, I would be more upset than dudes are, because I'm like, dude, we're trying to get a good name for ourselves, and you're doing the exact opposite. you're making our lives harder than it has to be.
Well, I can't really speak for other women because, you know, that's their business, but I can speak from my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been bullied majority of the time over the years from the Tekken community. Not because of that type of work, but because just for simply playing the game. And it's like, people will say, oh, well, she's a weak player. She don't have, and some days will be like, oh, you don't deserve to play Tekken. You belong in the kitchen. I'm like, what is this, 1950s? I can't just play with my thumbs. And then it's like, when I got better, when I really started to study the game more, because I had that drive, I always had a competitive drive to get better at something. Like, ever since I was a kid, I always played soccer, and it built my confidence and my competitive side. So I always been competitive as a kid, but healthy competitive, not like talking trash, like, oh, you're blah, 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 blah. Just competitive, like, I want to win. And anyway, so when I got better, I got more hate, especially from people I possibly beat in the past. I'm not gonna name drop though, because I don't do that. But
that's fine.
It really starts to come out when I started later on receiving death threats over the game and stuff. So I had to take a break during a period of Tekken 7 just to recover everything from all of that, because it was too much. But Tekken 8, I'm doing way much better in terms of gameplay and my mental health, because mental health is very important. And it's like, with all this talk now about how EDOS and OFs don't belong in the FGC, I agree. But the thing is, what makes it worse, though, is it makes it harder for women, such as myself and others, who actually want to play the game, want to compete. They're getting bashed down because people tend to try and generalize and throw us all under the bus, like group us all together. Like, basically, if you're a woman, you can't play because you're just going to use your tatas or whatever. And it's not right, in my opinion. It's like, you have to know the difference between who's doing it to promote themselves because of that type of work, and who's actually doing it because they're skillful in the game they play in.
The whole death threats over a video game is actually kind of crazy. I'm not saying like I've never seen something like that before, but because you lost to a girl in a video game is actually insane. But that's what I was saying. Women should, in my opinion, I can't say exactly, but in my opinion, they should be a lot more. I mean, holding them more accountable because of the stigma. It's just like when it comes like to go in a separate lane, like with black people. Why would we go into an establishment and start acting the exact same way that we get criticized for in the first place, and prove them right with every stereotype? The same thing applying to when it comes down to women in the FGC. If you know you're going to have this stigma and stereotype, I would be doubly make sure I hold my head up high with dignity, make sure I dress correctly. Now, cosplay and dudes being weird, I can't help with that, but the things you can help with, you probably should. You know, going back to that, there's a lot of dudes that have a lot of pent up frustration. I'm just gonna go to call it for what it is. I said it with Mike Hollow. There's a lot of dudes that are not getting laid. And there's no amount of getting good at the game that's going to fix that. It's more of a social issue, you know.
Yeah.
And I do. Go ahead.
Too. Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so it's like a lot of people in society now, it's because our generation and society is so wrapped up in technology and social media. The more you use technology and social media, you don't have balance in your life, such as going outside, talking to people. It's going to decrease your social interaction. It's going to eventually lead you to social isolation. And that's what a lot of people struggle with, especially like playing online. If you're playing online on the game 24/7, but you're not really talking to people or going out to even get food or something, then it's like, it's going to turn to depression, even pent inside frustration and anger that you take out and lash on other people. And for some reason, it's easier on women because that stereotype that women tend to be more emotional and sensitive and get offended and stuff like that. And personally, have you heard the 2024-5 term girls girl, where it's like, oh, she's a girls girl, like women support other women? That term, girls girl.
Yeah, I heard.
Honestly, that term, I don't think that term exists to me unless it benefits the other party. So it's like, for example, like if I'll keep it back. So it's like if I wasn't good at Tekken like that, right?
Yeah.
It's like they'll be like, "Oh, it's okay, we'll help you." Like hold my hand. But because I've been playing the game for years and I've been playing against a lot of other male space, some women during that time of the bullying and stuff, they laughed along with it too. So I was like, oh, so you're laughing with them too? What happened to, oh, we support all women, leave her alone. Women, they need to protect other women. No, they don't do that. They only protect women that they know aren't that good at the game.
Now you're getting into the shit I want to hear, because like you're not the first person I heard this from, and I'm surprised I didn't bring it up when I was talking to Mike Hollow. But no, I've seen girls actually get harassed by other women when it comes down to game. It's almost like this. It's a game inside of a game where whoever's getting the most attention at the time tends to be the target. So if you are good at the game, God forbid you're good at the game and you're attractive, you're enemy number one by not only the losers that's not getting laid, but also the other women that are trying to get said attention, mainly probably these OnlyFans thoughts. But yeah, go ahead and elaborate on that, because that's one of the things that most women don't want to talk about. They always say that the men are harassing. I'm not saying that it's not true, because dudes are definitely weird.
And especially in Tekken, I don't know about other fighting game communities, but I know in the Tekken community, there's like that little ego of wanting to be the best female player.
I wouldn't know about that.
Huh?
So I wouldn't know about that, so please elaborate.
So basically, let's just say like when there's other women who play Tekken, and if you beat some of them, they're quick to cuss you out. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. I'm not gonna name drop, but I did play a Lily player a couple weeks back. Beat them with Samia, because Samia's my main. But after 10 to 11 games in playing other people, they're like, how are you still losing to this chick? She's trash. Samia's in her stance. Pick her off the ground. And they're like, it's not that easy. But it's like, dude, we played like 15 minutes ago. Why are you still talking trash? Like, and it's just a game. It's like, it's not that big a deal. But for some reason, Tekken really, people take Tekken to heart. And then there's other women in the FGC in my past too. Like, I'll message you later who. But basically, they said, because I was beating them consecutively, they'll get mad and they'll literally start fishing around for information about me, like personal information that has nothing to do with the game, because they get that dirty. Like, they'll be like, oh, for example, Teelee, she's always on Tekken. What does she do for a living? What's her job? I'm like, that's none of your business. What I do in my life, I just like to play the game. Don't get mad because you're losing. Like, take it with a grain of salt. Don't take it personal. It's literally just a game. But that's why I stay off Twitter for the most part, because there are cases where people, if you're good at the game, they will slander and try and defame you. Like, they'll try and dig up personal information about you just to put you on the map so that you can either get banned from tournaments or lose your sponsors or whatever. Lead to bullying, everything. That's why, for me, in my case, I mostly just mind my business. I just play the game. Because I seen it, I observe, but I stay out of it. Because I'm like, you're not going to slander my name just because you're not good at the game.
Well, when it comes, I've had situations like that happen. I've never been sponsored, but I used to go to tournaments, and I tried, and I realized it's not for me. One, I'm getting old. I consider myself an old man at this point in the gaming world. I've been called out, for first to fives, first to 10s, beef sets, and if inevitably if they do lose, which most of the time they do, I'm not saying I'm good or anything, but most of the time they do, then they'll go through my profile. I done got my girl actually talked about.
Yeah.
They talk about they talk about my physique, which I don't understand why. I've actually been suspended off of Twitter several times for my opinions. Now I don't have some bad takes. I don't have some good ones and some bad ones, but all of them, when you get to the borderline issue or the main cause of the issue, it tends to be over Tekken. And I don't know. I know why they take it so personal. A lot of people, I don't know what it is about that game in particular, but it draws the people that actually have nothing else besides this damn game. I don't get it for the life of me. I've tried to understand them. I've tried to talk to them. Like, what is it that you like to do outside of this? Maybe you should get some fresh air. Maybe like go out, get some friends, touch grass. I'm trying to say it in a nicer way, but whatever happened, younger me, like 5 years ago, yeah, I would have been tearing people a new asshole. But I'm too old and too tired to be yelling at folks. But no, Twitter is definitely a cesspool. I see some of the most down bad takes ever. And to some degree, I can somewhat see why the women are like actually starting to like clap back at dudes and say, well, yeah, bro, you just don't get laid. And that has to hurt doubly bad because the one round that you did have, now you're losing in that too. And I think with Tekken in general, a lot of people have this ego about it, where they are not as good as what they really think they are. Like it's an overestimation of their skill level. That's the best way to say it. It's an overestimation of how skilled they actually are. And I try to tell people to peel back the layers. I'm like, well, if let's say blue ranks, for example, because they're known for this. They hit, let's say, Kenshin or Bushin or whatever have you, and all of a sudden they think that they have mastered the game. And I'm like, in Tekken 8, around that rank, the game actually just started. That's where the kid gloves come off and you start to lose a little bit more than you gain per match and so forth and so forth. But you can't tell them anything. And me, I don't go around gloating about rank because I really think that's insignificant. I always say, whether you're a beginner, as far as rank concerned, it really doesn't matter. If you're good, you're good. If you're bad, you're bad. I done seen God of Destruction that are god awful. I done seen red ranks that have some of the best movement I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. But simply put, they take it too seriously, and then they get on Twitter, and because you have the anonymity of the internet, they get very vocal with it. Me personally, when I've went to tournaments, the same vitriol I see on Twitter, I've never faced that in real life. It's not to say that I'm Billy Badass or anything. I'm not that. But all the anger and animosity, women, male or female, I've never seen it in real life. Have you been to offline events?
Yeah, of course. It's very different for me. I mean, yeah, people are going to talk smack online, but when you go to offline, it's like, if you're good. I mean, when I went to my offline locals and stuff, I didn't get, people didn't be like, oh, you got a boyfriend? No, it's like, they saw me playing a game, they're like, whoa, she's freaking good. It's like, we gotta invite her to our local. I'm like, yes, like, I'm actually being recognized for my skill, not because of what I look like, even though that could be a plus, but I'm not here to pick up somebody, date somebody, I'm here to play the game.
I feel that.
Like, in terms of their ranks and stuff, what annoys me is like people are getting too comfortable saying like, yo, this game's easy, I'm like one of the best players already. And it's like, some dudes legit told me anybody could get God with Savina. I'm like, but okay, you get a God with her, but actually main the character, that's a whole different story. I actually main her. You guys just play her, do whatever you want, and you guys just collect GODs like it's gold coins or something just to make yourself look good. But I don't see you guys actually playing those characters to the full extent you need to play. I know, sir, there's a lot of God players who play either slower in terms of movement, or they don't even punish. They don't know how to punish. Most of them just got their ear by cheating, or even our character knowledge. People don't know the character they're playing.
I'm glad you admitted that.
So it's like, you could be a God, okay, you're a God, but if you're playing tournaments, like you're trying to compete, you're getting washed. I don't know this because I play tournaments. I play in tournaments.
Yeah,
so
me
it's
too.
like, well, it's like, okay, you got the rank. So what? Anybody could get the rank. And it's like, it's not, okay, it's like Tekken 8 rank system. It's not like Tag 2 rank system. Tag 2 was busted. You can win 40 matches in Tag 2.
The motion match. No, that's happened to me several times. I will win 3 games in a row, and this game be up the motion match. I'm like, but how? But
exactly. Tag 2 rank system was busted. Tekken 8 system, but my theory, in my opinion, I feel like in the future, people are talking now saying, oh, this game's too easy. The rank, Parad's gonna be like, okay, now we're gonna make it harder. And that's when they're gonna really complain. Because they're complaining about the game being too easy, but like, wait till they decide to change it up. You're gonna complain then too.
Well, the thing about here's the thing, going to the argument is what not really an argument, but we're talking about when it comes to the male and female in FGC. Even with this game, you can't win. And I was trying to get that to Mike Hollow. Like, either way, somebody's going to be upset, right?
Right.
If you support the women too much, men are going to be upset. If you don't support them enough, men will still be upset, and also women. But there are people that I've seen, and I've posted tweets in my last video, where women are actually, without putting in the work, and I think a lot of people get this my statement misconstrued when I say this. I don't care that you being a girl and being good at the game. That doesn't bother me. When you're asking people and e-begging people to follow you and do all this other stuff and you haven't put in the work, that's where my problem lies. And I say I have the same attitude for men too, but I look at it like this. There are certain women that play the game that are actually really good. They get no notoriety. There are certain women that are actually god awful, but they do look good, and looks do carry. And I tell anybody that if you're trying to get sponsored and you want to be, a mainstream Tekken player or a streamer, your appearance does matter. You can't go anywhere looking any kind of way. But
I'm gonna be honest, like, if I was like, let's just say if I was like over 500 pounds, okay, I know. I'm trying hard not to be fat phobic, but if I was like 500 pounds, like if they saw I wasn't taking care of myself, period, like I look like I'm out of shape, I don't brush my teeth, whatever, they ain't gonna sponsor me. They don't care how good I am at the game, because it's like, it's marketing. Like it's one thing to be talented at the game, but you also have to be marketable. Like you have to look like, okay, this girl has personality, she takes care of herself, she's gonna look good for our team. We have to get her.
And that's another thing I'll be talking about. But a lot of these girls that I've seen now, they're not marketable. Because if you go down their tweets, and it's just say you don't have a man. Just say you don't have one, and it's okay. Like if you want to be single and do your thing, that's fine. But it's a lot of man hating.
Yeah.
And then you top it off that you're not good at the game, but the same men that you're hating are the same men that you're going to need support from, because the thing about it is, all the women in the world can support women when it comes down to the FGC, because it's only a small, minute amount of y'all versus the men that's in there that is a majority. So you would want to not shit on the same people that you're going to need support from in the long run.
Exactly. Because both sides matter. Like if you really want to put yourself out there, you have to appeal to both sides. And it's like, that's why I don't really post on Twitter like that, because it's too toxic as it is now. It's full of drama. But when I do post, it's usually something encouraging or tip about Tekken or just my gameplay. I leave it at that. I don't even get involved with the drama. It's like, there's no point, because it's like, you're not going to make me look bad and mess up my chances of possible opportunities for me for being good at the game. Like, that's just crazy. But that's the thing. It's like, people don't understand how to market themselves or how business works. Like you have your gaming side and you have your business side. You just have to know when to turn it on and off. But a lot of people, they don't see it that way. They're just like, oh, well, I'm better than so and so, it don't matter. And one thing I don't really trust is people who don't really smile in their pictures when they're like, they have that resting bitch face. It's like, why? I'm like, it's like people gonna talk to you, but it's like, are you okay? Like, why aren't you smiling at most of your pictures? That's a inner problem right there. But I don't know. But me, I'm known for my bubbly personality. Like it's like, it's hard for me to get mad at Tekken, because the game, how I look at the game is so funny to me. It's like, if I'm losing, I'll be like, oh no. Like that's my signature phrase. I'll be like, oh no, like it's all dramatic. But then I'll be like, not my pretty face if I'm getting hit with some Mina or Shaya, because all the girls in the game are very attractive. And I'm just like, not my pretty face. Or like, if I'm losing, and by losing in general, I just keep calm. I'll just be like, good game, and let's get a rematch. And that's what scares people about me as a player, because I just keep my composure the whole time. I don't rage like, oh, F you, I lost to this. No, I'm just like, good game.
I mean,
and the reason I got that patience I got from my mother, because we'll always play card games, and if she loses, she'd be like, okay, let's go again. Just very calm. I got that from my mom.
Well, the thing about Tekken, you can break it down in a lot of ways. When it comes down to people, I've been saying this in a lot of my videos, people avoid competition. Anything that's remotely hard, they try to avoid it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And number two with Tekken 8, it's so unpredictable. It's hard to be mad, especially when you're trying to play defense. there's so many interactions that happen within a couple of seconds. You can't account for everything, so there's really no point in getting mad. Another thing too with me, I've learned this over the years, because in Tekken Tag Tournament 2, I was definitely raging, but but most of the time when I lose, I can. The better you get at the game, the more this comes to mind. Like, the more you just realize that I fucked up here. Or I didn't sidestep counsel. I got clipped. Or I knew this was like -8. My turn is over. There's no point in me trying to step. I might as well just go ahead and block. But I decided to push a button anyway. I got popped. The person's plus 1,000. They're going to use their mix-ups. We understand the game is broken. I can't get mad at the game for being the game. If I'm going to be that mad, I'm going to do what I did beforehand, which is take a damn near year hiatus. I'm just now coming back, like, for a month. Because when I first played the game, I did not like the direction at all. It's literally completely different than Tekken 7, Tag 2. Anything that you learned prior to, you can throw that shit out the window for the most part. That backdashing, Korean backdashing, moving out of the way, trying to predict certain patterns in people, that shit does not matter. Matter of fact, it actually encouraged you to flowchart. The game encourages you to do that. Yeah. Because the flowcharts in the game are so strong, and people that know what they're doing, they can attest to this. You can know how to punish somebody for doing something, but the option is so risky, it's not worth trying. You're just better off just trying to block it. Let's take a character like Lily, for example. She's more of a sidestep left down character, right? You sidestep her to the left, most of the shit's gonna whiff. She has so many options that you don't want to try that. If she's doing, let's say, the homing, well, what is it, like 3+4, where she literally dives at you from full screen and is homing?
Yeah.
Good players know that it's a high, but then you have to worry about down 4, 3+4 that'll actually catch you. Even though you can step it, but you got to worry about both options, so you're better off just sitting there for the most part. You could try to option select it by like sidestep ducking, but that's advanced, but most people don't even think about that to begin with. But this is the type of wheels, that's the type of people that players that are thinking about this at a high level, that think of it's stressful. Playing that game for more than 2 hours for me is actually stressful. When you're thinking, now if I could flowchart my way, let's say I could pick law, I can flowchart my way to Tekken God easily. I've done it with Paul. Death Fist, down 4, 1-1-2, Demo Man, Tekken God. Didn't have to add anything crazy, and if you just do something stupid, just down 4 to it. But that's my whole thing with this game. Like, a lot of people are saying that it's easier, but they're not saying it's easy for the right reasons. It's easy because the game is dumbed down to the fact where a person can't defend against your flowcharts. You can play that game mindlessly and get away with it because it promotes it. Let's take the heat system, for example. You do a move that would normally be -8 and it's the other person's turn. Jin is a prime example. Forward 2. Oh, you want a free mix up? Oh, go in the heat. He blocks the heat. You're already +1 if they block a heat engager. You're +1. Oh, well, he does a jab. Oh, well, he blocks the jab. He's +1. He doesn't do anything. I do forward 2. Oh, that's -8, by the way. But because it's in heat and I heat dash, I'm +5. Guess again. This is the type of shit that makes me stop playing the game. But that's just me. That's just me.
Yeah, but like I said, the reason I feel like they made the game easier compared to past Tekken games is because they're trying to bring in more players. Because if they keep carrying to the same veterans, that very small community, then in the future it might not sell well. Because Tekken Tag 2 almost ended the end of Tekken in general, because that it was the hardest, but it was also the least selling game. It did very poorly in sales. But like, okay, it's too hard, too challenging. People skip Tag 2, so they're like, maybe Tekken 7 will make it easier for people, and that's what they did. And it revived Tekken. It saved Tekken, literally. Tekken 7 did. And they're like, okay, well, we want to get more players, so let's make it easier. Actually, I don't think they should have done that, but it is what it is. But it worked.
A lot of people have the wrong idea about Tag 2, though.
Okay. So because so many people picked up Tekken 8, it's like it creates a bigger budget to keep making future Tekken games. And now they're already talking about Tekken 9, which is crazy to me, because it's like, how are you going to talk about Tekken 9 when Tekken 8 literally just came out? But hey, you gotta get your money.
The thing with Tag 2, what made Tag 2 sell poorly, and people just happen to forget this, that was around 2011, 2012. I was about 17, 18 years old. I was still a teenager.
Yeah, I was 18 too.
That game came out with some of the most heavy-hitting fighting games of all time, and not just in the FGC, just in gaming in general. The 2010 era, that was the year for just gaming in general. You had from shooters to RPGs to, if you even want to go with the FGC, you had Mortal Kombat 9. You had Marvel vs. Capcom 3. You had
Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, Street Fighter 4, which
DOA 4, I think it was Dead or Alive 4 at the time. Dead or Alive back then was actually really fun.
You had Killer Instinct coming back out with another game. So the competition that Tekken Tag Tournament 2 was going against, and yeah, think about it, this is the 2D revival era. People say it's the FGC revival area. No, that was the 2D revival area. But before then, the 3D market was high. We had Tekken 5, Soul Calibur 4, Soul Calibur 3, Soul Calibur 2, 3D games, and even MK went the 3D route with Armageddon, Deception, and Deadly Alliance. People have this misconception like, no, it's a 2D era. The early 2000s was a 2D era, and you have a 3D game, even as great as it is, because if you go back and play, like, this game is a lot better than I remember.
Yeah.
But the time it came out, it was the wrong time. And yes, the game was extremely hard, but the timing was, it couldn't have been any worse. Mm-hmm. Not to mention Tekken 6 was still plummeting too. People think that Tekken 6 was doing great numbers. It wasn't.
Yeah.
So with those two things in mind, I'm like, of course it's going to do bad. And then you have the terrible release of Street Fighter 5. When Street Fighter 5 came out, that shit was horrible when it first released. I had high hopes for Street Fighter 5. After the success of Street Fighter 5, I just knew in my heart of hearts that Street Fighter 5 was just going to win my heart. I played that shit and I immediately uninstalled. It was just that bad.
Yeah, that's how I was too. Like, when I tried to pick up Street Fighter 5, I couldn't understand the user interface. It's like, I'm like, this is so confusing. It's like, Tekken is like, game invite, send to the player, they're there. Street Fighter is like, no, you have to go from this, and this just to invite somebody. I'm like, what is this user interface? I'm like, nah.
They made it overly complicated, and the thing about it is Tekken 8 actually kind of took that same mantra, but because they made it crossplay, but with Street Fighter 5, they had no need to make it that complicated, considering that it's just only for PS5. It was console exclusive. You had the PS5 version, you had the PC version. They didn't cross-platform it, so there was no need for that. The only thing they were trying to promote was the Capcom Network thing, but I'm like, you didn't really need to do that. You was fine just the way it was. Not to mention, it took forever and a day to get the games. The servers were completely... people forgot, the servers for Street Fighter 5 were so laggy that people went in and made their own fix. That's how bad it was. And the thing about it is, Street Fighter 5, believe it or not, actually ended off on a good note compared to Tekken 7. Remember, Tekken 7 started off extremely strong, and by Season 3, Season 4, it died. I'm not going to be real, it died. And then you have Tekken 8, and people are saying this is the best Tekken. I'm like, but if you look numbers-wise, it's getting crushed by Tekken 7. Actually, Main Man Sweet just made a video not too long ago saying revisiting Tekken 7. I'm like, but if you look at the numbers and you're saying thank God for Tekken 8, I'm like, by the numbers alone, it's getting crushed.
Oh yeah.
People are actually showing their displeasure with this game in mass. It's not just people like me, and I thought it was just me at the first point, but no, there's a lot of people that are saying, no, this is way too offensive. I feel like I have no defensive option. I feel like it's a casino. I feel like I'm gambling. It's always 50-50s. It's never like I felt like I just beat my opponent because I just beat him. I'm better than him. I read what he was doing and I made the appropriate action. It's no, sometimes I just got lucky and just fucked up an input. Then you have the crossplay situations, and go ahead.
Sorry. I'm gonna say fundamentals in Tekken are kind of out the window, especially like if you try sidewalk or sidestep. Like, for example, you're playing against Lars.
Good luck.
Good luck. Or for, I think it's like 3 or 4. It's basically his long kick range. He just kicks you far away. If you sidestep, he still hits you. It's like, what is this game? But yeah, it's just like, that's why I hope for like Season 2, the developers take into account, like, maybe this game's a little too busted. We're gonna try and have to fix it.
It feels like you're playing Marvel. But going back to the thing about it is, so it's a double problem, right? The game, people are even though I say it like the Tekken 8 is fun to watch. Watching people play the game is very fun to watch, but playing it is a fucking nightmare. So it's a two-sided problem. One, the game is not as good as people are letting on. I'm just going to say that right now. It's not as good as people are letting on. That's number one. And number two, the community is too much infighting in the community. Not just with men and women, but just the community overall. There is elitism, male or female. There's elitism that you have to deal with. if you're a female, it's doubly true because now you got ethos that's over here trying to capitalize off of dorks that ain't getting no ass. And then these dorks are clapping back or just saying that, hey, I know that you're trying to, use and abuse me, but they still pay for it anyway. But I'm disgruntled by it. Then you have the female that are actually trying, but they're having a hard time because of these situations. And then you have the dudes on top of that are mad because they feel like they deserve a shine, but there's women that are not putting in the work and the effort, or men that's putting in the work and the effort that are still getting the same amount of views or more, which causes even more infighting.
Because there are women, it's like another thing that feels like some women's jealousy when it comes to Tekken or even the FGC is basically when they see other women who's actually putting in work but getting more attention because of their skill. Not only they're jealous about it, but there's also women who want to be at that same level as that girl, not in terms of skill. They just don't want to work for it. Like basically, it's like as long as I'm pretty, I can get what I want. And it's like, it don't work like that if you're really trying to make it in the FGC. Like, you have to put in the work. Because it's like, what's going to go so far? It's basically like wasted talent. Like, you can look pretty, but after that, that's where it stops there. What else are you known for?
I would say it's like a souped-up car with a bad engine. It looks good on the outside, but when it comes down to actually doing what you need to do and performance-wise, it's just trash. The only thing I have a problem with women in the FGC, and I've said it before, and I will keep saying it is if you really want to be a part of it, do not come in trying to change the culture. A lot of people come in, a lot of women come in, they say, well, I want to be catered to. So while you saying that, you're automatically pedalizing yourself over men. And that's where a lot of men get angry. I'm like, we already had this place where we talk shit, people lose, money matches, there is elitism, it's going to be there. These are things that made up the FGC, right?
Yeah.
And you're coming into this knowing full and damn well that this is going to happen. And you're trying to make people cater to your whims and your feelings. I don't agree with that, because if I went to a woman's space as a man, I'm not going to try to change what they do there. It's either I agree with it and I want to be a part of it, or I don't.
Yeah.
Now, people just being outright dickheads and all the other shit that's going on, the weird shit like the SA charges, dudes over there groping women and other crazy stuff going on. Yeah, I'm not with that. But as far as like a couple of women getting chastised because a dude say you suck, what of it? Just beat his ass.
This though, from my experience, I'd rather be known for Teelee sucks at Tekken versus Teelee sucks so-and-so of the FGC. I'd rather be known for sucking at the game, I guess. Because at least I could get better at the game. But that kind of reputation, the other side, you ain't coming back from that.
But there are so many stories of that happening. And going back to that tweet, that original tweet that started all this in the first place.
Yeah.
We're so quick to discredit it. I'm like, but is there really any validity to what he's saying? So in my opinion, I've seen it firsthand that he has some validity what he's saying. I'm not going to name drop either because I don't feel like that's fair.
Honestly, his tweet, as much as at that it may seem, if you really read between the lines of his tweet, he's actually telling the truth. But where he messed up is when he just generalized getting women out the FGC in general. That's where he messed up.
But that's what. Yeah, go ahead.
He could just kept it. He just kept the first part of it, but the women FGC in general, he could cut that out because that's where people really blamed him for it.
And that's what I'm saying. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I made like a short video about it too, like get women out the FGC. I'm like, okay, where do I belong? Because I'm placing in top 8, staying out of trouble and stuff. And then it's like. And then some of my friends that I do know of who I still play with Tekken to this day, just like they told some of the other girls, they're like, hey, go support Teelee. She's actually giving tips on how to get better so-and-so. Or you go look at her tournament results and they're like, what's Teelee? Like, who's going to support her? It's like she doesn't have the platform, and that's what they're looking at. They're not looking at the skill, some of them, they're actually looking at the fame, basically, to become more known, whereas being associated with players and who place in tournaments or who have a platform on social media, who has more followers. That's what they mostly look at. They don't really look at the skill. And I didn't care about okay, game followers is cool and stuff, but it's like my goal is just to generally be good at the game. And that's what they don't look at though. And then when you see someone who actually blow up for being good at the game, that's when they get really mad and salty.
And I'm glad you said that, because it ties into what I was saying and essentially what you're saying. And one thing, it's like they pick and choose, and I have to call the FGC out for that. They pick and choose. Like most people that read that tweet, you get the overarching message that he's trying to present. He's like, yeah, look, we don't want the fuck shit in the FGC, right? But we're going to hone in on one sentence. Now that sentence is a little bit extreme, but we're going to hone in on one sentence and run with it instead of look at the overall message. And the same thing with what you're saying is like they're looking for the clout, and if you don't have the clout, it doesn't matter. No matter how accurate what you're saying is, like you can say down 4-1 is 13 frames universally with most characters, right? Besides characters like Jack, Paul, they got like 14 frame, Kazuya 15 frame. But for the most part, it's going to be universally 13 frames. I could say that till I'm blue in the face, and I'm 100% right, but until somebody like the Main Man Tweet says it, K-Wiz says it, or any YouTuber or Twitch streamer that you like says it, does not matter. And here's the thing, they will argue you down about it too, regardless of sex too. They like, you don't know what you're talking about. And hence, like, let's say you get the god, and here's the thing, they move the goalposts too a lot too, man or female. At first it is, you're not in the god rank, so you can't have a conversation, right? Whatever you say doesn't matter. You hit Tekken God or Tekken God Supreme or God of Destruction, right? You hit these ranks, well, you're not a tournament player, so what you say doesn't matter. Oh, well, you enter tournaments, well, you didn't place top 8, so what you say doesn't matter. Oh, you hit top 8, you didn't win, so that doesn't matter. Oh, you won a top 8, well, you didn't win a major, so that doesn't matter. You win a major, that doesn't matter. Oh, you didn't beat Arsenal and Ash and Ati's butt and knee, well, it still doesn't matter. They will continuously move the goalpost until to make it seem like they're right instead of just take the information for what it is. And going with Twitter makes it worse with females. The thing I don't like is, again, like you have a lot of people, a lot of dudes, they want to white knight and they think that it's going to, and I'm not, no digging Mike Hollow, because I did call him a white knight, but no digging him. It's just in general, a lot of dudes try to white knight for women as if it's going to get you laid. And I'm going to be the hard person and just tell you this. As I said in the video, you was lame then, and more than likely you're probably going to be lame now if you haven't done the work and get the social skills to actually talk to people. Right. Getting women is like getting friends. It's a social thing. I mean, of course your appearance matters, but it's a social thing. If you come off as hunched over, dorky, unkept, nobody want to talk to you. I wouldn't want to talk to you. So that's just how it goes. No matter how good you are at the game, that's why the common insult when I see two people getting mad, well, you don't get no bitches. I'm like, you don't either. So what are we talking? What are we talking about?
Yeah, but it was crazy on my part because it's like, since I got sponsored recently, I had to leave a lot of online Tekken groups and unfollow some people on TikTok and stuff because they're like, oh, well, she's only sponsored because she plays on lag, just making excuses. But then it turned to bullying. People started tagging me and bashing me over small things. And then there's a very few of my friends who are like, guys, just leave her alone, right? But they're like, oh, you're a simp, you're defending her. I'm like, how is defending someone from bullying a simp? He didn't say, oh, well, she's beautiful. Now, he was talking about me looks-wise, and it's like, maybe that's simpish. But if you're defending someone from blatantly being bullied, it's like, that's not simping. That's just being concerned for that person.
Well, you got to think about it. When it comes down to the social climate we are in now, anything that is trying to help a woman in a man's defense, well, if a man tries to defend a woman, no matter what context it is, it's going to be simping. You could literally be defending your own wife, the one that you've married and did all this for. You could be defending your own wife from a terrible situation. And somewhere in that comment section with those weird dorks that sit in the darkness, they will say that you're simping.
Yeah, sad.
But there is a lot of simping that goes on though, so it's hard to, the line is so blurred you can't tell what is simping and what's not anymore, because there are a lot of people online that will, I'll just take you for example, right? Okay. Let's say if you were in the limelight in the pleasant light of, let's say at Tanakana, right? When she was at our height, if you say anything that is remotely a critique of her, they are on your ass, no matter what it is. It could be something very mild like, oh, she missed a punish here, or you fucking suck. I'm like, whoa, buddy, calm down. Yeah. It's not that deep. She's not gonna fuck you, but thanks for your comment. But that's how bad it would be. So when it comes down to it, there are a lot of dudes that are simping in the hopes of getting some ass, but it's not gonna happen. And I always try to tell dudes like that in the FGC, I'm like, that's probably not one of the places you want to meet women in the first place. Probably want to meet.
allegations that's going on right now, it's just you gotta be careful.
Probably want to meet her outside. Yeah, you probably want to meet her outside of that. Number two, it's just not enough to go around. It's not a lot of women to go around in the FGC in the first place for them to try to actually get with these women. You're stacking the deck. It's not in your favor. You will be having a better chance of just cleaning yourself up and go outside. Like, go to another event, go to an anime con. But the thing I've noticed with dudes in the FGC, that's the only place they go. Let's take a place like DreamHack, right? I go to DreamHack every couple of years, right? And I was talking to my girl, and I was like, you know what's crazy? I got knocked out of the tournament. I went, I think 3-2. Knocked out of the tournament. I'm like, oh, whatever. It was fun. I didn't plan on winning anyway. I just wanted to go for fun. Yeah. I went to the anime side. I did the Dance Dance Revolution thing. I watched Siege. I watched this. I went over there. And I come back and the same people are in that same area. I'm like, bro, this is not just one thing. It's a giant event. Have fun. Go. But they're so borderline obsessed with this one thing. I'm like, bro, you're missing the whole event. If you wanted a girlfriend there's plenty of girls that like the exact same thing that you like, that you could probably mingle with. You can go for them, but they're hyper fixated on certain women in the FGC, and there's a lot of hate watching too, rather they be male or female. So like, they really hate your guts. They tend to watch you to an obsessive amount that's not healthy. When it definitely with women.
It's like not only do I know how to play a game, it's how I look too. That's a big factor too. Especially, I don't know if it's a race thing too. Also being a black woman, but then it's like if you look at any of my pictures, it's like she don't look like she plays Tekken.
I looked at your Instagram. Mm-hmm.
But once I actually play, it's just like, who is this girl?
I mean, the same could be said for my Instagram. Most of the people that know me in real life, they would never expect that I was a hardcore Tekken player at one point, or right. I was a hardcore any kind of gamer at one point. Most people, they will look at me and say, "Gym bro," and I mean, fair, because it's mostly gym content on my Instagram in the first place. But you wouldn't expect that, so when you do see it, it kind of takes you off guard. And the same thing goes for dudes, just like how women get a whole bunch of bullshit for, well, she looks good and she's beating my ass in the game. It happens to dudes too. Sometimes it could be even worse because I'm stronger than you, I'm faster than you, I look better than you, and the only sanctuary that you have is this damn game, and you're losing that too. So now what do you have? See, the thing is, if you could beat me at said game, you're like, well, your muscles don't mean anything. I never said they did, but your muscles don't mean anything because we're playing the game, and this is your safe haven. For some people, I don't understand why it is, but it's your safe haven. But the thought of a person that looks better than you in real life is actually beating you in this, and now you can't use this as an insult. Well, I whooped you in Tekken 5.0. That doesn't matter anymore. You still got your ass beat.
Yeah.
Any insult they would have towards you no longer matters because you're beating them in every facet of life. And I'm not trying to be arrogant about saying this, but for a lot of people, it's the truth. Like, to some degree, and I don't like LTG. I could use him as an example. They hate that, man. A 6'5" black dude that's very muscular and is beating you in said video game. You're going to have a field day. Now with LTG, he fucks up his own reputation. But let's say, in theory, he was a. Say what now?
He fumbled Tosh.0. He had a chance to be on Tosh.0 back when that show was popular.
Mm-hmm.
And he fumbled it.
Let's say
it's crazy.
Let's say LTG was to take the shit seriously, right? And like cut the bullshit, cut the rage, and then he actually took it seriously and got really, really good, right?
Yeah.
Now you have a nigga with an ego that's muscular, 6'5", that's doing his thing, and he's good at the game, and he's talking his shit. You think they're mad now? They will be even more mad.
Oh yeah.
And he's getting sponsors too while he's talking all this shit. They will be upset. So it's the same with women. I think this is essentially just need to go outside more. A lot of the FGC people, they just need to go outside. Leave the Twitter alone. And take a break, breathe some of that fresh air. Mike Hollow was talking about the gym a lot, and I do to some degree agree with that. Like, maybe you should get your physical fitness up. There's no reason why you should come in there and there's sweat stains on your t-shirts and, ketchup stains on your shirt, and, you're wearing the same jeans and you got your dusty shoes on. Like, me personally, I feel like if you're going to go anywhere, especially if you know you're going to be in the limelight, and there's potential people that you want to talk to, you should probably dress to impress. Or if you're going to dress casual, at least keep yourself up for the most part.
I'll give you an example, because if you're going to a gaming convention or even an anime convention, if they have like a FGC tournament and it's going to be streamed, you have to look your best. It's basically equivalent to being on TV in a sense. So it's like, if I'm going to be in a tournament, I'm either going in some type of cosplay because I am a cosplayer, or I'm just going to look my best. Like, my hair's done, I'm wearing cute clothes, whatever, because I'm not going to look any type of way.
That happened to me one time, and it was my first major. It was DreamHack 2019. I went up there because I didn't really care, because I woke up late, and I was just throwing some clothes on. I mean, it was some decent clothes, but like I just wasn't, all the way there. And I didn't expect to be on the big screen.
Yeah.
I won my first match. They say, your next opponent is Shadow 20. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like,
he's going through some stuff because of Twitter, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
I'm gonna leave that brother alone, man. He ain't did nothing to me, but I'm like, oh shit. Like, now I gotta be on the bitch screen. Like, oh, this is gonna be a disaster. But it was okay. I did get my ass whooped, but in that moment right there, and that for like what we talked about earlier when it comes down to players, I'm like, there's a distinct level between a tournament level player and a good player. I would consider myself a decent to good player.
Yes.
He is a tournament level player, so he's elite. The difference when I was playing him was for me, it was so noticeable. I'm like, I can't get mad, because the thing is, they dedicate themselves to this game. I mean, I play it, but I don't dedicate myself to it like they do. And I can't get mad when they reach the results that I want, or that I did want at one point. I'm like, it's insurmountable. I have too much stuff going on in my life, between me trying to be a personal trainer, doing the gym thing, me being a photographer, me working for a full-time job, and being a content. I don't have the time, right?
Yeah.
So what I do try to do now is I just make videos to try to help people out, inform people. I'm like, a lot of people think that it takes forever to learn Tekken. In this day and age, it doesn't. And I'm gonna do a little side note. They made this game so easy to learn. You have online practice mode. The online practice mode HUD is very helpful. It not only just shows you online practice, because Hack 2 is just online practice. It didn't show you the frame data or anything. It shows you the frame data. Even in your replays, it gives you examples of how you could have punished it. And not only that, you can literally pause it, go in there, and punish it for yourself, and you still don't use it. So when people say that they're ass in Tekken 8, I'm like, there's no excuse. There's really none.
But the thing is, like I said, anyone can be good at Tekken 8, but to be great at Tekken 8, I mean,
it's hard.
It's
hard. It's hard.
Because people, like, anyone could be good at online. That's why I left most of the group chats, because it's like, I'm not learning anything. You guys aren't teaching me anything. You guys don't go to tournaments, so I don't need to be here.
Especially for you being a girl, like, because I know with me, it's hard for me to find people to lab with, right? I'm not even trying to be a tournament level player anymore. I'm just trying to lab just to learn shit. I don't like to go into a match blindsided. It's hard for me to find people to lab with, and I can only imagine a person that's sponsored and being a woman, it has to be a bit harder. And then it kind of makes sense of why the elite players are so tight knit, because a lot of the people that are trying to get there, they don't have the work ethic it takes to get there. So when they say it's time to lab, niggas be bullshitting.
Yeah.
When it's time to run sets, the ego be in there. I don't want to get beat up on. It's not about winning or losing. I said it in my last video. It's not about winning or losing. It's about getting better. So if your whole goal in rank matches to get the rank, you're going to struggle a lot. But if your goal is to get better, the rank is going to come eventually. Sometimes the long way is the short way. But no, I can see how hard it is, and I see why the elite players are so tight knit. Who else you gonna call? Let's say you're a King J. Who else you gonna talk to? You gonna talk to these random people that don't really care about this shit? They don't care.
Right.
So you have to talk to like other people, like let's say a Poke Chop, or what's another American player, Anakin, or whoever have you. And they're getting older, so they're starting to fade out. So who's the new players? And even a lot of the new players, there's a lot of shit going on with them, where I've seen this thing where it's a coaching thing, and the nigga didn't know what he was talking about at all. All the information was wrong.
Scamming people for coaching. I heard about that.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's weird. I'm like, for a community that wants to be big, you're shooting yourself in the foot at every turn. So you're going to criticize the low rank players for not being good enough. And then they're going to criticize you by saying you're not giving the information, but the low ranked players don't want to actually learn. So that's a two-sided problem right there.
Yeah.
You alienate other people from coming in by saying that, oh, this game is super hard when it's really not at this point. People in the content creators, I hold them accountable for this. You don't make content that's easily digestible for people that don't know anything about Tekken. Anytime I make a guide, I sound repetitive, but I do it for a reason, because I understand they don't understand what the fuck a down forward one is. If I say that, what the fuck is that? So if I tell them it's +5 on block, or let's say it's -15 launch punishable, they don't know what the fuck that means. I have to
know what that is. And
exactly.
What's bad about some of these guides too, because I've seen them too. They'll be like, okay, do the 4-4-2, but they'll be like, what's a 4-4-2? And they don't know that's actually the actual move you have to press to do that move. So it's like, I did a Samina guide recently, because not many people use the character, but it's like, it's basically a basic beginner guide for people who's be like, okay, I don't know who I want to pick, but I like Samina. So it's like, okay, instead of saying 4-4-2, I show them exactly the move. Like, here you go.
A lot of the guides.
I just said, like, for example, I'll just say, if you really want to win this character, you have to know movement. I'll drop key hints, movement, and I'll explain what movement is. Punishment. What is punishment? Like, actually explain it, not just say, oh, punish this, but they don't know what punish is.
The problem is they're not making it digestible.
Right.
They talk in a way as if they know. The person that's watching the video already knows. A lot of the people that are watching the video, I think a lot of people forget that, let's say you're a Tekken god or up. Most people are not there, right? And even if they're high blue ranks, they still don't have the basics of the game. So when they're going back and trying to understand why they lost, you have to spoon feed the information in a way that is digestible, in the way if they can need to go back to the video like, oh, well, there's this. So when it comes to content, they don't put chapters in their guides, which I don't understand why you don't do that. They don't make the information accessible to everybody where everybody can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the times they're very misinformed on what they're telling people. They say, well, just sidestep this, but why am I sidestepping? Let's take Paul, for example. I use Paul in a lot of my guys because he's one of the most fundamental characters you can play. If you can play a solid Paul, you'll be good.
Right.
Let's take a move like down forward 1, right? It's -2 on it's -2 on block, and if you go on this way, it's like +1, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's +3. But the problem is, he's like, well, I'm plus, but that doesn't mean you get to do anything if you go on the sway. Because if you go on the sway, most of the moves are like 17, 18, 19 frames,
Right.
which leads into a gap, right? With that gap, they can jab you out. I have to explain it bit by bit of why you're doing this. Not just do it, but why you're doing it or why you shouldn't do this, right? And I'm telling you, are probably better off if you're going to do Paul and you're going to do the sway. If you do the down forward 1 and it hits, right, you're +5, but if with sway like +8, now you can enforce a mix-up instead of just doing it willy-nilly and again wonder why you're getting jabbed. You're like, I was plus, but I got hit. You wasn't plus enough. Yeah. Or I should sidestep here. Like most people just randomly sidestep. I tell people sidestep and block, because you're not, especially online, because it's laggy. More often than not, you're going to end up getting clipped by things you shouldn't have got clipped by, and you know you sidestepped at the appropriate time, but because of the latency, you kind of, it's like a fail safe. So just in case I miss a lot, he realigns with me, I'm safe. But most people don't get into the details or the nitty gritty about that. And then a lot of people looking at these guys like they're lost, and they are lost. They're like, well, the guy just told me to sidestep. He's a god of destruction, so he must be right. I'm like, but he's not going into detail of why you're doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another problem I have. So it's hard for people to get good. So if we want to say that Tekken 8 is a hard game, let's go with the premise that it's a hard game and it's hard for people to get into. We have to make the content as digestible as possible where most people can understand it. And it can shrink the learning curve so it doesn't take so long to learn. People do not have patience anymore. In this day and age, people get bored of a 5-minute video, let alone a 15-20 minute extensive guide on how to do something. If people really want to know, they'll stick it through. But not only that, sometimes it's just fucking dry. Like the information is great, but the video's dry.
Yeah, that's why when I was doing my submission, I had to take into account people who may not know Tekken at all. Basically, making a guide for people who want to get into Tekken, but they don't know Tekken, like nothing about it. And it's like, I can't make it too short because it's like, you're not really learning anything. I can't make it too long either because it'll turn people away. So like I have to have the balance.
Not only that, with the chapters, they can just skip to, let's say there are an intermediate or advanced player. If it been intermediate or advanced, they can skip to what they want to know. Because the last thing I know, because like as a content creator myself, when I look at other videos, I'm trying to figure out something and I fucking hate this. I look for something and they give me everything but what I'm looking for. And I get really mad. They keep explaining the same thing that I already know. So I'm like, why don't you just put chapters so I can just skip to what I want to find out?
Right.
But I understand why they do that, because they want more AdSense. But I'm like, wouldn't it make sense to put the chapters in? Side note, it's like marketing, right? Because we've been talking about marketing the entire time. And I was explaining to one of my bosses at my job, I'm like, yeah, you can get this person to buy this product one time and you get them. Yeah, you got the money, but you just lost out on a potential customer that can keep buying it over and over and over again. But if I give them the information, let's say they only watch the video for a minute, but that 1 minute is everything they need. They're satisfied with the video. They might leave a like or leave a comment. More than likely, they're going to leave a comment. They leave a comment. That's more engagement. That serves me better. They subscribe to the channel. They look for more videos because I'm being concise and I'm giving them exactly what they want, instead of trying to force them to watch through this entire 10-minute video. And at the end, I finally tell them what they want to know. And they're like, now they're frustrated. Or they're frustrated and they click off. Now they won't want to watch the content anymore. And I just lost out on a potential subscriber. It's things like that. So going to Tekken to actually make it full circle, it's not inviting. The problems with it, it's not inviting to women or men. It's not inviting, especially if you're new. God forbid you're new. 2, the content creators are selling this false narrative that this game is really great when it's not. A lot of older players are disgruntled with the game. A lot of new players are liking the game. It's causing a huge clash because there's newer players that love this game. They love how offensive it is. They love the fact that they can just bulldoze their opponent. Beat me, I hate it. But a lot of new players like it. But the old heads, like me, I like the movement. I like all that. And he's like, well, that movement is boring. The new players say the movement and stuff is boring. I'm like, the movement and stuff is boring because you don't understand what's going on. If you understood what's going on, it makes it more entertaining. It's just like chess. A person that doesn't know how to play chess, well, it looks boring. You're just moving pieces. But if you understand the intricacies of the game, like, oh, that's a really good move there. Even though it's like you just moved a pawn, but that pawn stopped 5 options right there, just alone, and set them up for something different. It's layers to it. But I think we're only hitting it at the surface level. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. And me and another content creator, I only heard of her. She goes by Mimi. Mimi's really awesome. She's very sweet. We talked about too, like we're sick and tired of the toxic Twitter drama, toxic Twitter space. And like, it's like if this keeps on going, the game's gonna die. Not because of the state, but literally because of the community itself, the players, how toxic the players are. So we're trying to collab and see like, what can we do to make the game more welcoming again? To be like, it's okay. It's a safe space for you to come and play with us and talk to us. Instead of be like, oh, you suck, you're trash, oh, you're new to the game, or oh, you're too good. Like, we don't need any of that. It's just, that's what kills the game.
I would say number 1, I would probably do to fix Tekken 8 as far as the community is probably add more ranks.
Oh, definitely. That's
the broader the ranks are, the broader the ranks are, the more separation it will be for the average Tekken player. And what I mean by that is, good players will be fighting good players, intermediates will be fighting intermediates, beginners will be fighting beginners. The whole premise of like when you promote to Tekken God or God of Destruction, and your character start off at Fujin, that's fucking tragic. I think once you hit those God ranks, you should probably start off at Tekken King. I think that's a bit more fair, because if you're fighting Fujins, let's say he got 177,000 Tekken prowess, and you got 400,000. You think he finna rematch you? I wouldn't. He just got destroyed 3 rounds straight. Like, he's a poor Fujin. He's just now starting to understand some of the basics of the game, and he has to fight you. No, I would probably not rematch either. And I had to get that out of my head too, because I used to be like, oh, you're one and done, and I'm like, you're never gonna get good. I'm like, but at the same time, can I blame him when you're in a situation where, especially me, I'm like a sneaky one, because like my shit says like 260,000. But I don't play like a 260,000 player.
Right.
And then you're fighting me, and then you get 3-0. You're like, what? I thought I was getting good. I'm like, no, it's just that you're it's just that you're fighting somebody that's leagues above you. And I'm like, it's not fair to you, and it's not arrogance. It's just, I know I'm better than you. I know what you're gonna do before you're gonna do it. Let's say you're at Fujin and you're playing Law, and you do While standing for DSS councils 24/7, as a person I used to main law for like 10 plus years, I know what to do against that. Doesn't bother me. But it worked all the way to there. Then you fight somebody that knows what to do, not only knows what to do, how to stop everything, you're gonna just stop it before it happens. Now what? Now you're frustrated. You don't want to fight that.
Right.
So I get it. So if you make the ranks a lot more broader and a lot of people can actually, fight people at that level. That's one of the things I've been saying for the longest. People need to fight people at that level. So when they do win, it feels more satisfying. And when they do lose, all right, it was a close game. I'll rematch. But if you're fighting 400,000 Tekken pros and you're 177,000, you're not rematching. And now you don't want to play the game because you're salty. Yeah. That's bad. Number two, the way the rank system work, the point system work, it's atrocious. It doesn't work. If you want to keep the online community invested, I think they should make a whole separate class for like people that are like 400,000 plus, kind of like how they did with Tekken God Omega, but expanded in Tekken 7. They should do something like that. For the real try hard sweat content creators that want those illustrious ranks that are super, super hard to get, that makes sense for them. They got more content to make, they have a reason to play the game. But then you got the casual players where they get the basic ranks like we have now. That's fine. I can live with that. So let's say take your GOD. You take your GOD and you put it like Street Fighter 6, right? Where you hit master rank, but now you're going for top number 1 of the master ranks. And the leaderboard is active and live. Now I can get behind it. I will watch other content creators do that because I'm not going to do it, but I will watch other content creators do that because that would be interesting to watch.
Right. And
everybody will be satisfied. Online anyway. Offline, people just got to stop being dickheads and being weird. And these whole cliques that people have, that needs to end. Like if you've been to an event, you will see it. It's very cliquish. If you're not a part of said clique and they don't like you, they will avoid you at all costs. That has happened to me several times where in the ATL scene, people will avoid me at all costs. And several other people that don't even play anymore, they stop playing because like these niggas are weird. Have you experienced that?
Like just
or anything similar?
Stay away.
Like they'll stay away, or you feel the weird tension.
Oh yeah, it'd be like that. It doesn't even have to be offline; it can be online too.
I definitely feel that, especially with God of Destruction rank. And the problem with God of Destruction rank, now I always tell myself I never like to hit high ranks like that. It's because there's a certain expectation that you're supposed to be a God level player. Right. And let's say, the thing is with God of Destruction, or if you're a high rank, you're not allowed to have a bad day. You're not allowed to be a day where you're not playing optimally. You're not playing at 100%. And if you lose, you're going to get clipped. Like my last video with the God of Destruction Lee, and a lot of people say, oh, well, you're a blue rank and I'm like, I'm a blue rank with Jin. And I'm not even a blue rank with Jin. And it's just the fact that we're around the same rank. I'm like, a lot of people had this thing where they like to say that, well, being a Tekken God and being a God of Destruction, those are two totally different things. I'm like, nigga, you're fighting the same people. It's just the grind is a lot harder. That's it. The grind is a little bit harder, but you're essentially fighting the same people. So if you can get Tekken God or Tekken God Supreme, you can get God of Destruction. The only problem is you're going to run. It's just like Tekken 7. The amount of trash players you're going to run to that's slipping through the cracks are going to be a little bit smaller. Yeah. But if you're a true Tekken God, a actual good one that's actually know what you're doing, you're going to progress if you play long enough.
Oh yeah, you have to keep playing. That's what anything in life, like if you really want to master something in life, you have to keep doing what you're doing. If you stop, you're not going to learn anything.
But Tekken 8 gives too many dopamine hits. So yeah. Remember, in the older games, you start off at wood ranks. You don't start off at first stand. You start off at wood ranks, and then you got to go from wood ranks all the way to true Tekken God and Tag 2. And people say that's too bloated. You was getting your ass.
Tag 2.
Tag 2, I was a Vanquisher.
Yeah, and Vanquisher and then Conqueror.
It took me hell and high water to get the Vanquisher. Like I was saying before, there was dudes that was doing down forward to perfect electrics in that kind of lag at yellow ranks, at duelist ranks. I'm like, that's insane. Right. And then you taking people that are God ranks that are holding the back button with no Korean backdash, no sidestep counsel, no jab checks, no mid checks, no homing moves, just power crush, heat system, get my 50-50, win. Right. Yeah, that's frustrating how much they lowered the skill level by a lot. It's like, okay, they already made it easy with their rage arts in Tekken 7, but like in this game, it's just like, wow. It's to the point where all I can do is just laugh. I don't even get mad anymore. I used to, because I used to take it personally. I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like it cheapens the rank, but who cares? I mean, at the end, if you're good enough, like I said before, if you're good, you're good. If you're bad, you're bad. Who cares about the rank? The rank to me is mostly a trinket.
Right.
But online players, if all you gonna play is online and play rank, I don't understand the mindset of ranked players. I know we're kind of diving off of the original topic, but I don't understand the mindset of ranked players. They'll say rank doesn't matter, but they will grind hours upon hours upon hours upon hours for one rank to the point where do you care about the rank or not?
People who call me, they're like, rank doesn't matter, but then they'll turn around and say, well, you have to get to GOD with so-and-so. You have to have 4 or 5 GODs. If you don't have a GOD by now, you're trash. I'm like, but didn't you guys say rank don't matter though? And you're still going about rank?
It goes back to what we was talking about with the original topic. They only use things out of convenience, like that whole dude with the saying about at the end of the quote, keep women out of the FGC. We're gonna latch onto that part and ignore all the rest of that tweet, just that one part.
All right.
Same thing with when it comes down to rank or just playing in general. We only use what's convenient at the time. If rank truly doesn't matter, that means you shouldn't be raging in rank. If you're truly trying to get better, you shouldn't be raging, because here's the thing: the more you rage, the less you're focused. You can't focus and be mad at the same time.
Never, ever, ever. This is from my experience, and also generally in your whole life of playing Tekken. Never, ever, ever in your life play that game when you're mad. You're gonna lose a lot.
It's gonna make it worse. It's gonna make you worse, bro. It was so bad. This is a funny story of mine when Tag 2 was ended, because it used to make me so mad. And I have to understand I'm nowhere near as good. Like, I look at my old clips and cringe, because I'm like, dude, you're not terrible, but you're still bad. Like, you're still pretty bad. I took Tag 2. I had a hard copy and a digital copy. I had the PS3 digital copy. Took the hard copy outside and hit it with a hammer. That's how mad I was about that game.
Yeah. That's why you don't want to get that mad.
And then I take Tekken 7, and when Tekken 7 first came out, I was upset with that game. I'm like, compared to Tag 2, I'm like, where the rest of my fucking game at? You see that little small minion? I'm like, where the rest of the game at? Then I get Tekken 8, I'm like, it's okay, I guess. I mean, it's not horrible. Not really good either, but it's not horrible. But the state of the game is very interesting. I've been telling people for the longest, I'm like, y'all gonna kill the game long before the game kills itself.
Yeah.
The casuals are enjoying the game, but the community itself, and it's always been a problem, and haven't you noticed what's crazy is every other community is growing strong besides this. KOF has this dedicated community. They will play KOF no matter how bad it is. They gonna play it because they love their game, and they don't shit talk their game. You got Street Fighter 6. It's been forever expanding since Street Fighter 4. And the thing about it is, what's crazy is, and this is another thing that nobody talks about, what's weird, Tekken community is the only one that shit on its predecessors. Street Fighter, when it comes to Third Strike, they hold that game in high reverence. When it comes to Street Fighter 2, that is the godfather of Street Fighter. When it comes to Street Fighter 4, it is the revival arc of Street Fighter. They hold their game in high reverence. Even Street Fighter 5, it was bad, but they go back and say, you know what, Street Fighter 5 wasn't that bad. It was okay. When it comes to Tekken 8, oh man, remember, Tekken 7 is the greatest game of all time. All that blue stuff, all the shit they was fucking saying, right? Tekken 8 comes out. This game is fucking shit, man. I can't believe people played Tekken 7, man.
Play it anyway, and it's like, no one's forcing you to play Tekken 8. Tekken 7 still exists, but they're like, yeah, but Tekken 8's more recent, it's more tournament play. But I was like, you guys, that's the thing, you guys aren't companions, right?
Not only that, they just hate
Tekken 7.
They just hate Tekken 7 in general. They like, oh, this game fucking sucks. I had to pay for frame data, man. 4, Lydia was so good, bro. Season 3, Leroy. And I'm like, but y'all was hyping this up for 7 years. Remember, Tekken 7 lasted 7 years before Tekken 8's release. And then with Tag 2, people used to love Tag 2. People forget about this. I'm like, y'all get too caught up in the content creators. Tag 2 was a great game. It just didn't have the base. And on top of that, it didn't have the support from the actual company itself like Tekken 7 did. There was nobody. They didn't have Tekken World Tours for no Tag 2. They didn't have that. What they had...
It's like Tag 2 mostly back then. People didn't really know about esports as much or sponsorships, none of that. Tag 2, and I remember Tag 2 had the WTF site, the World Tekken Federation site, where you could actually be part of an online clan back when clans actually matter in a sense, because you guys could collect emblems and stuff to represent your clan and stuff. But then they said, and on top of that, they actually kept your stats up better than the Wobble Wiki site.
Not only that, on Tag 2 also showed your win-loss ratio. That was awesome.
Yeah, Tag 2 was dope for that. And then they shut it down because they said some people were cheating. But yeah, I kind of wish they still had that site around.
But the thing about Tag 2, people forget, the thing about Tag 2, what made it so special was the thing that kept Tag 2 alive for as long as it lived was the people actually cared about the game. That's the only notoriety that it had, was the actual FGC itself actually keeping the game alive.
It was very creative. I remember, like, with Miharu, you could take pictures with her selfie bag. That was a grab. Like, it was very creative.
And I'm like, the content creators are quick to shit on the game. I'm like, but if there was not no Tekken in Tekken Tag Tournament 2 and Tekken Revolution, you wouldn't have a Tekken 7. Because here's the thing, Tekken Revolution was a test for Tekken 7.
It was.
They want to see how many people were still interested in Tekken as a whole. And they realized that there's a huge pool of people that will pay for this game. People talk about the microtransactions in Tekken 8, but I'm like, microtransactions really started with Tekken Revolution. You had to pay $5 to get 30 coins. And it was one of the most beautiful things ever because people actually tried to fucking win because they didn't want their name to turn red. They had to wait for an hour to play the game again. And then here's the great thing about Tekken Revolution. It was a segue into Tag 2. So if you got good at Tekken Revolution, well, you already have a point of reference to go to. I'm like, well, I'm learning the basis of the game. Now I can go to Tag 2, which is an infinitely harder game. And I'm like, well, at least I won't get stomped into the ground.
Oh, yeah. And I do remember, but people trashed on Tekken Revolution because they had power-ups, too. That was the thing. Like,
but it was meant for scrubs. The game was literally meant for beginners. It was fun. I enjoyed that one actually more than Tag 2.
For the most part, I did make a couple PS3 friends during that time. And then that's also the time they introduced Eliza the Vampire.
Yeah, Eliza first got introduced there. But it's just weird to me how they shit on tags. And they'll go even far. T6 was trash. Tag 2 was trash. T7 is trash. The only thing that's good about Tekken now is Tekken 8. That's so weird. Tag 1, my personal favorite.
The game is the most new friendly.
Tag 1, my personal favorite. Tekken 3 is my favorite of all time.
You can just do whatever you want in Tekken 8. The past games, you actually have to work for your win.
But I mean, the other games were broken, but it was broken in the sense that, yeah, you had your overpowered characters, but you can at least defend against the shit in this game. Good luck.
Right. Tekken 8 is just guessing. You don't know what you're going to get hit with at all. It's literally guessing the whole time.
And the thing about this was the problematic part about it is a lot of the people that are watching these videos are people that's shitting on these older games that never played them, by the way. They will latch onto it without any proper knowledge and say, well, yeah, this game is shit because so-and-so said. So I'm like, but you didn't even play. You wasn't even alive. Like,
no, you weren't there.
I'm 30 years old. Yeah, I'm 30.
Really, because Tekken 8 has this tutorial too, but Tag 2 was more and more.
That game taught you how to sidestep.
You had the tutorial. They're like, okay, they said, first off, we're going to get you down with your movement. Learn what's side walking, what's side stepping. And they actually show you how to do it in Tag 2. They even show you about punishing, combos, everything. And then people in Tekken 7 are like, why isn't there a tutorial? I'm like, because it was in Tag 2.
They gave you one and you didn't use it. You skipped right to it and went straight to the game.
Right.
And the thing about it is, what I actually am happy about Tekken 8 is they did improve on the practice mode. I thought Tekken 7 practice mode was godlike. They made it even better. Like, they made labbing so much funner and so much easier. But going back to the premise I was saying, like, even with Tag 1, like, Tag 1 was so trash. And like the reasons they say are fucking retarded, because they will say that, oh yeah, man, Tag 2 was so bad because the roster was bloated. I'm like, and Tekken 7 wasn't. If you look at the end of Tekken 7, that roster was huge.
Yeah, very. And they're talking about Tekken 8. They're trying to make it last for me at least like 5 and up years. So imagine how big the roster is going to be by the end of Tekken 8.
And they're going to keep trying to make money with season passes and things of that nature. So I don't understand the logic. They like, well, but Tag 2 had terrible netcode. I'm like, and Tekken 7 didn't? Right. It was so bad they had to implement rollback frames for the first time. I'm like, yeah, rollback frames for the first time. Fucking words, dude. But they had to introduce this setting where people didn't even know what rollback was at the time. And I'm like, they have to incorporate that from another system like GGPO if you're old enough and remember those, GGPO/Fightcade. They had to implement that because it was that bad. Delay frames was that bad to the point where you would step and like 2 seconds later the step will come out.
Oh yeah, it was bad.
I think people are like, they have recency bias and they're quick to forget how the other games actually played.
Yeah.
when people forgot that with Tekken 7, when game first came out, you got to see who you actually played. You don't see that anymore. And people talk about, oh man, everybody once and done in Tekken 8, bro. The one and done in fucking Tekken 7, day one was fucking crazy. You got to see their connection, their name. You saw everything.
Yeah.
And people like, and the crazy thing about it is this game is so coddled in Tekken 8. Remember, you can block people and never play them again. Which, in my opinion, is a form of cherry picking. Unless their lagging is obscene or they're rage quitting on you, that's the only way I will probably block you. But people will block you just because they got their ass whooped.
Yeah.
So they complain, they're like, "Oh man, the system in Tekken 7, we could just keep fighting and they was boosting." And I'm like, death matches were hard. I've literally had death matches that lasted for hours.
Oh yeah.
And then you got in Tekken 8 where, oh, he whooped my ass. I don't want to play him ever again. So block. The community is weird. It's like a ball of yarn, and you trying to pull it apart, and it just gets weirder and weirder each time.
Yeah, that's why I don't really talk. I mean, I play the game, but I don't really get too deep into community because I'm gonna be blunt. Some of the community is kind of like messing the head. I don't know if it's like lack of social interaction. I don't know what it is, but the game really, they just take that game to heart.
I've been wanting to talk to people about that. I'm like, why is Tekken life for you? Like, not you, but I just want to ask this to like certain people, but nobody will ever answer the question. I'm like, if you're not a content creator and you don't get paid for playing this game, that's the only reason I came back to playing this game, by the way, because this is what my channel was known for. I started in Tag 2. And I started getting paid to actually play this game. I'm like, this is the only reason I'm playing this game. If it was not for that, let's say they told me, hey, we will pay you to play something I love, like Metal Gear, right? I will never touch Tekken. I will delete the entire channel. Y'all will never see me again. The community is actually that bad to some. Like, but we love to have fun if they like you.
Yeah.
We love these players and we are so welcoming if we like you, but if we don't like you, we make your life a living hell. Rather you're right or wrong. We don't try to understand you, but we don't like you, so we don't need to understand you. Fuck you. And for women, it could be doubly true. You're a woman, you're not giving up cheeks, and you're beating my ass. Well, no, we don't like you. You gotta get up out of here.
We're gonna get you banned.
And going back to the topic, let's go ahead and bring it on home. Even with the OnlyFans thoughts, I'm like, I have to get on the dudes too, because Mike Holler was right. I'm like, y'all promote the behavior that y'all are so against, because if y'all all said no, the OnlyFans thoughts wouldn't be here. But they are here.
Right.
And
like, you say you don't want them to be there, but you might be the same dude supporting them though, on the low.
I know they're so. This not even on the low. I know they are. You gotta think about it. These are the same dudes that be wearing furry ear costumes and furry outfits in real life in public where people can see you. And I'm not talking about like actual like anime characters or anything like that. I'm talking about like the actual furry suits.
Right.
And you got people that's out here dressed as women. I'm not trying to be like, you know, that, but like that's dressed as women that claim to be straight. I'm like, if you was homosexual and you did that, that makes perfect sense. But you claim to be straight and you the same one that's talking about on your Twitter that everybody can see about your anime waifus and all this other crap. I'm like, and you don't think for a second they're not buying OnlyFans? I'm like, because dudes be lying. I'm like, they say, oh, I don't buy OnlyFans. I don't know, somebody lying. Somebody has to be lying because they're getting paid. Somebody's lying. So, like,
it's kind of, because I kind of think about it too. So I don't really go on Twitter like that, but I know it's like there's a huge difference. Like, if you go on my Twitter, it's like my follower count's like less than 500, but I don't care about Twitter. But then you see women with over like 20K, but most of them have, subscribe to my OnlyFans.
not only that, a lot of these girls be lying too, because I'm like, they like, man, I don't be fucking around and doing all this other shit. I'm like, somebody has to be lying, because there's way too many allegations of you out here sucking dick and doing all this other crazy shit.
On the Twitter, like it's right there in your face.
It's right there in your face, but again, somebody's lying.
Yeah.
Like, but you want this community to be wholesome. I'm like, I look at it like this: if you ain't gonna do it in public, don't do it in private, right?
Yeah.
Besides obvious things, of course, but if you know it's gonna be a bad look in public, don't do it in private.
Right.
If you want to promote that the FGC is an inclusive place where people can join and play games and have fun, and we don't promote all this promiscuity and adultery and all this other crap, then don't be doing it behind the scenes and then look shocked and wonder why when people find out, they be like, well, y'all are every bit of what we thought y'all were.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Position, like, for example, if I had like a team or a sponsor, like the 93 clan, because I'm 93's baby. If I had like someone on my team named Teelee93 and I saw her doing sex work, she would got cut. And not only that, I would have to rebrand myself, because it's like the moment someone's doing sex work on the team, it's like, oh, they're prostitutes or whatever. It's like, you do you, but don't bring that mess to my team when we're a whole different niche that has nothing to do with that.
So, yeah, that's what we can wrap it up on. And like at the end of the day, when it comes down to men and women in the FGC and just the FGC in general, and I was trying to get to Mike Hollow, there has to be certain boundaries that are involved. We have to draw the line. You can't cater to everybody's feelings and it be sustainable. Somebody, no matter what you do, is going to be upset.
Right.
If you draw the hard line in the sand and say, hey, we don't want FGC thoughts in here in the first place, and y'all actually invoke that, we'll see which women want to actually be a part of the FGC and which ones don't.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If we do have women in the FGC and we draw a hard line in the sand and we say, hey, all that creep shit y'all doing, cut it out, from TOs to just regular tournament participants to high-level players. If we say, hey, we see you doing this, we're revoking sponsorships, we not playing, we're drawing a hard line in the sand, keep it clean. Whatever else you do on your own time, if you do fuck up, keep that shit to yourself. I shouldn't see it on Twitter, I shouldn't see it on Instagram, I shouldn't see it on Reddit. Keep that shit to yourself. If we draw that hard line in the sand, we'll see how many people are getting promoted based off of them fucking around, or they actually being promoted because they're actually good at the game and they're actually marketable. We have to draw a hard line in the sand, but nobody wants to do that because you're going to be painted as the villain no matter how you slice it. If you want to paint the line in the sand and say, we're going to do this the right way, people are going to be like, well, you're a bigot, you're a misogynist. In my case, you're both of those, and you don't get no bitches, even though, again, I've been in a 9-year relationship. Something going to work. If I'm the other way, oh man, you're a sex positivity guy, and you're a simp, or you're a white knight, as I call Mike Hollow. You can't win, but at some point you just got to say, look, you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. It just is what it is. Somebody's feelings gonna get hurt, but which way you want to lean? Do you want to be this super inclusive place where everybody can do whatever they want and there's no structure, or do you want to be able to have structure and the community can actually grow and thrive in a safe place where people can be happy? Now, I'm not saying that we gotta be where we can't talk shit and have a good time, but all that other unnecessary shit gotta go, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's like that's part of life too. There has to be some kind of boundaries. There has to be discipline. If everybody's just doing whatever they want and there's no structure, no order, then it's like, what do we know? How can we determine what's good and what's not good?
The lines are blurred too much, exactly.
Yeah.
But we've been going on for almost an hour and 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. Do you have any final thoughts before I let you off? 'Cause I know you probably got something else to do today.
Yeah. So, coming from one Tekken player to another, the game's kind of in bad state, but if you generally love the game, just keep playing and don't let no one stop you from your goals, what you're trying to do. Just don't let nobody stop you, and for the sake of your sanity, just stay out of drama.
Facts.
If you have to, stay off Twitter too, because that's where most of it comes from, if you have to, but just keep playing.
Exactly. You want to promote your socials real quick? I'm already have them in the link, but go ahead and promote yourself real quick.
Okay, so my Twitch, I'm very vocal on Twitch, just playing the game, having fun. You can follow me on Twitch on Teelee 1993. That's Teelee 1993. My TikTok is Teelee 1993, and my Instagram is Miss Teelee 93. MISSTEELEE 93.
Got you. So we gonna wrap it up here, guys. I thank everybody for watching the video if you made it this far. Until next time, y'all have a good one, and peace.
Bye.